back to the Resonant Life podcast. I am your host, Dr. Leila Doolittle, and today I am so excited to be joined by Dr. Amy Marshall. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, we're fascinated to learn from you. So I'll just let her delve into what her specialty is and what are some of the things that fascinates her, and let's share it with the listeners, and then we'll go into some of the things that we're brainstorming about.
Sure. So my name is Dr. Amy Marshall. I am a Western trained nurse practitioner with my doctorate in thyroid studies. And I have gone far on the other side of frequency medicine and staying there as opposed to staying in a Western model. And part of my journey has been learning to pick up and detect subtle energies.
I love that.
And that kind of opened up a gateway and a doorway to higher realms.
Yes.
And I had some experiences along the way that some out-of-body experiences during some heavy trauma times when I was like in the operating room at Parkland.
Wow.
That sort of opened up a portal, if you will, and I began seeing with my patients, and my pineal gland cracked.
That's incredible. We have to explain that too.
Sure, okay. Because I think that helps you understand a little bit more like why I'm here.
Yes.
Right? Like our why. Why are we doing what we're doing? What's our story? What brought us to where we are?
Yes.
And where are we going? You know? So yeah, a touch on that was, I was in the operating room actually doing at Parkland. This was a long time ago. And we were doing actually open heart CPR.
Wow.
And a lot of people get to do that.
Yes.
And I basically went out of my body and was standing looking into the operating room from the hallway.
Wow.
And I was watching myself do the CPR. And I sat there in kind of awe. It was like a pause moment when time freezes still. And I thought to myself, I would really prefer to work upstream from the physical body in the blueprints so that it doesn't get to this point in time.
Yes.
Where it's so far down the path that it's really hard to snowball backwards.
It definitely is.
So it was kind of an awakening moment for me. And then I began to jump into sound. Sound is one of my favorite loves. Scalar energy source, of course, that can transmute lower frequencies. Began to meditate quite a bit. I began a massive detox protocols for parasites and heavy metals. So all of that's been a journey. And mix in a pineal gland crack, which actually happened when I was meditating one day. I was using... Have you heard anyone have this experience?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it?
I'm so excited to hear about yours.
So I was holding my stones that it's called Euphorolite, and they have a lot of lithium in it, just by natural. They're from South Dakota. And lithium, as you know, is very helpful for the brain.
Yes.
So I would meditate holding my crystals, and one day I was sitting there meditating and really just kind of in a silent place. I wasn't doing Kundalini breath or anything, and I heard the loudest crack in the center of my head. And I'm a nurse practitioner, right? So I'm assessing myself for stroke. You know, I'm patting. I'm like, okay, everything is working. Yep, okay. So it's not a stroke. And I had this massive sensation of energy go throughout my entire brain.
Wow.
It was so loud. And then I got a massive headache, went to bed, and woke up and saw even more. So when I say see, it's, you know, I've had experiences where I'll see hands on patients. I'll see cords. I'll see kind of negative energies. I'll see ancestors that come in, you know, and for a while, I actually didn't know what to do. That doesn't come in the manual.
Right. No, right. You don't have someone to learn from directly. It's scary to be alone.
Right. And I want to do what's right.
Yes.
You know, for the patient, what's in their highest and best interest. So then that took me down a very shamanic road. And went and studied with some shamans and studied under their belt for about 6 months to where at least I had an understanding of what's really for the highest and best good of this patient.
Oh, I love that.
What needs to be removed, but also what needs to be brought back.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? As we move towards wholeness, as we move towards sovereignty, as we move towards freedom, there's an energetic component to that, just as there is a financial component.
Yes, there is.
And an emotional component.
Yes.
So I began to sort of see and sense and feel these subtle energies within my body.
Yes.
And then I reached out to pendulum work. Because it's yet another way of us removing, it's a one-step removal from me, you know, muscle testing, if you will.
I like that. That way it's more accurate because there aren't pre-exposed condition. Well, actually, let's explore that, because I do know many clients that I have, they've already seen other functional health practitioners. I was trained in chiropractic and we did kinesiology testing, and I have never resonated with me being the conduit of actually the yes and no and the muscle testing, and me being in the middle of it whenever there's something that a patient believes so much and they're so confident that it's going to help, but then maybe it's not exactly what's best for them, or vice versa. So let's explain that, because I have many clients that will come in and ask me if I'll muscle test them. And I do agree. I love pendulum work because it's like there's less of that energy in between, that interposed energy.
Right. There's less influence. There's less bias.
Yes.
And if it's a heavy duty question, and if it's a heavy duty, health condition that somebody's struggling with, and I, of course, want my bias as well, wants them to get better, of course. And what can I do? And my left brain will sometimes take over and say, no, it needs to be da 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 da. And I step back and I say, okay, I'm going to blind test this one with my pendulum.
Good.
Right? So you're putting your answers on a piece of paper, you're taking your pendulum, and you don't know what is the yes and what is the no. So that's been pretty fundamental for me, because I notice on days, and I'm sure you notice this too, on days when you're tired or you're emotionally charged, you're not going to get the exact answers. There's going to be a little influence in the field.
I love that you're doing this. So pendulum testing, explain that a little bit more, because you explained the different papers. And as for our listeners, let's talk a little bit more about pendulum work. I've been doing pendulum work since I was a child, and I think it's so fun. And so what are the different types of pendulums, like crystal pendulums versus bioenergetic, biogeometry pendulums, or whatever else you can use for it? What are some of the different types and the ways to do testing? And let's explore that a little bit more.
Sure. That's a big bag. So I was trained through biogeometry on a principle called French radiesthesia. And it was handed down by the Jesuits. And that's where they were actually testing the lines, the grid lines in the earth, whether they be ley lines, which are the helpful, beneficial lines, and then the grid lines, which is the Banker, Hartman, and Curry lines, which we don't want to be sleeping on. Because it's the way of the earth detoxing. Just like we detox and take in, the earth detoxes and takes in. So it's not necessarily bad. So this French radiesthesia technique was developed because people would often get sick. Because they would go into these lines and they would test them, and they're energetically resonating with the negativity or the detox lines of the earth. And they would get really, really sick. So French radiesthesia was developed for us to be able to test and get out and not use what's called vertical negative green, and resonating with vertical negative green, which is an EMF and Wi-Fi and all that stuff, but also in the grid lines of the earth. So it's very different than dowsing. You're literally measuring. You're measuring the ultraviolet light spectrum, because each one of those resonance energies has a wavelength that matches with a color on the ultraviolet spectrum. So there's dials and percentages and angles and things like that. We're using that in quite a few different pendulums. It's very different.
I love that.
So, but an everyday use of a pendulum could be a crystal pendulum, which crystal pendulums are good. I prefer either the biogeometry pendulum that you're wearing, or a neutral pendulum, which is just made out of a plastic something or other.
That makes sense. Because the crystals can hold energies.
The crystals will hold energies, for sure. And they'll resonate with certain things and not others. Because they're their own energy field.
That makes sense.
So I prefer either neutral or the biogeometry pendulum that you've got right there. So in an everyday use, when we finally can open up to these subtle energy realms, and tap in or tune in, whatever you want to call it, an everyday use looks like a pendulum where you could point to something on a restaurant board. You would look kind of funny, and you could be holding your pendulum, and let's say you wanted a vegetarian versus a meat something or other. And when you think about it and you connect into that, and you're going to actually get some energy. So with this pendulum, I programmed it to give me more energy if it's a yes, or less energy if it's a no.
I love that. And
So
that means moving in different ways,
Mhm.
because I know many people, they'll have the paper, the
Mhm.
idea, if it goes out and it's saying yes, or
Mhm.
if it's going back and forth and it's
Same
saying no.
principle.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily need a paper. You can
Mhm.
imagine your paper right there,
Yes.
and you can do your yes, and you can do your no. Absolutely.
Love that.
Or, you can actually put your hand over something and you can test your own energetic field to see if it's an addition to. So if I'm just kind of getting a general read on my energy right now, I'm pretty good right now, actually.
No kidding.
That's good. My yoga worked this morning.
I love that.
So I want to know if this crystal, this is my vocal cut that I use a lot in sessions. So I want to know if this one is adding to my field or not. So if we go back and get a baseline, and I hold my crystal, we're going to see what it does.
Wow.
And it's going to actually start. Yeah, it's going to start amping up.
That. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And see, this is like beyond just the movement of your hand. Your hand isn't doing this. That's what is so important, I think, for people to understand. It's not that your hand is actually creating that type of motion so much as there's energy around us. So let's delve into that a little bit more, like these layers of subtle energy fields. Like we have so many different layers, and we can go into the anatomy of these different layers if you'd like to, and also just explain what is this subtle energy? What is this? What does it mean to have the subtle energy? What does that feel like? And many people can think of it as they oftentimes will feel the EMFs if they're right next to a big Wi-Fi system or a huge power line system. They can feel there's a little maybe anxiety that they feel or a little stress response. Maybe they aren't sleeping as well at night. So many people are starting to become aware to turn off their Wi-Fi at night, put the phone in airplane mode, make sure that they are, just appreciating how there could be negative energies that are put out. They also feel the difference whenever they put their feet flat on the ground, bare feet, and they feel the Schumann resonance, the energy fields of the earth as it's helping to, anchor them, synchronize them, and discharge, dispel some of that energy that's built up through electronics and everything else. So go into that a little bit more, this biogeometry, subtle energy fields, what it means to have this energy that's going out, and then how that's interacting with those energy fields and giving us an actual movement and motion.
Well, I think of energy fields, subtle energy fields, as what's adding to or what's detracting from. As we're making our way through life.
Yes.
And a subtle, like you were talking about grounding and subtle energies of the earth gives us a way to discharge and recharge. Because we know we're electrical.
We are.
We're electrical magnetic beings, period, So the subtle bodies, and even this biogeometry pendulum acknowledges the different subtle bodies from physical all the way to spiritual.
I love that.
As the emotional plane, the mental plane, the causal plane, the astral plane, and the spiritual plane. So this is sort of an encapsulation of us as humans on this earthly planet and all of our subtle bodies.
I love that.
So each one of them needs support.
Yes.
And as we go through life and we hit traumas or we hit road bumps, we hit EMF, we hit Wi-Fi, we hit toxins, we hit infections, all of those things are impacting all subtle bodies. And it's a beautiful work to go in and figure out which subtle body this person is struggling on. And oftentimes, if I work at the higher levels, it'll filter down into the physical, the lower, slower vibrational realms. And things like infection, like for example, Epstein-Barr is a really big one that a lot of people have. That's a resonance.
Yes, it is.
It's resonating in our body, creating interference fields.
It impacts the nervous system, impacts every different cellular aspect. Yes. And so then it can have impact on biology, physiology, on matter itself. And then that is really the definition of how matter is formed. It's just the organization of these energetic fields or these electricities in different ways.
I love that. And the clearer we are as a vessel and as a channel, that is moving through our life with more ease and grace.
Yes.
That is attracting the things that we want into our life that align with us and where we are in our journey. So whether it's, a homeopathic remedy for Lyme, whether it's doing parasite eviction, which is one of my favorite things, by the way, because they have their own resonance and their own consciousness.
Yes. That's
So
exactly what, like, the definition of parasite is. It's sucking energy from you, pulling energy,
yeah.
drawing it away. Energetic parasites, like, there are many people that can be emotional or mental parasites, like, just, also in those like friendships or family groups and things like that that are there. We don't realize parasites are not just these energetic beings or the, like, actual biotoxic type beings that are within us, little worms that are in us. It can also be on the subtle energy fields. We have parasites.
And I've worked with a lot of couples
Yes.
over the years, and you can see the entanglement.
Yes.
You can see the drain on one person in the relationship, where who's giving, and not receiving, receiving. So there's an imbalance.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. And it ends up being a physical manifestation, sometimes pain, lower back pain, neck pain, stress pain, and things like that, that'll manifest all the way down from that spiritual disconnect, all the way down into the physical. So it's, as shamans, we basically have one foot in between both worlds. And we go back and forth, and we are charged, part of our dharma, if you will, is to go find where these soul parts and these energies lie that they left behind.
Yes.
And bring them back so that you're creating more wholeness and self-empowerment. So that's the energetic piece of it. But I have seen many times where, and I use sound, as I mentioned.
Oh, I love that.
I love sound. To me, I really do believe that me working with tuning forks was a huge piece of my healing journey. Even though I'm working on others.
You're receiving that healing as well.
And I believe it's contributed to my higher awareness and my higher consciousness, kind of on a fast track, because I was in it for so long, and doing it every day, all day. It was magnificent. It really, it kind of catapulted a quantum leap. I believe. So with the sound, I mean, just for a strange example, right? Like totally thinking outside the box. I would take my lower ohm forks, which is a weighted fork, and I would take a vial of Epstein-Barr or lime, a homeopathic, a traditional homeopathic, not a digitized.
Right.
So I would take that and I would actually find the resistance in the magnetic field of the person and start pushing on it.
That's amazing.
And it's with an activated tuning fork. And I'm literally bumping up against the energetic blueprint of lime in their field, or Epstein-Barr or whatever.
I love that.
So I'm sitting here waiting in the field, just waiting and waiting for the resistance to let go. And then finally I go, okay, now I can move forward through the timeline, right into that organ system or into that acupuncture meridian.
Yes.
And the next day the patient calls me up and says, my urine smelled so foul the next day.
Excruciating.
Totally. And just by placing and activating the resonance of an infection with a tuning fork in their field, not even on their body.
I know that our listeners are going to be fascinated by this. So explain that a little bit more. So in the field, this means you were like how far out, how many centimeters or feet out from the patient, and you were still working within their field. And then explain what that means, the weighted tuning fork.
Sure.
Because that'll be helpful.
Yeah, I didn't bring them. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So we're really infinite beings,
yes,
right? We go on forever.
Yes.
And our job here too is expand and awake and claim our sovereignty. Yes. That's a huge piece of why we're here. Well, or the piece why we're here. And in our magnetic field, we come in with our blueprint. I like to call it a blueprint. Our genetic code, which is just a reflection. Actually, the physical body is just a reflection of the energetic and magnetic field outside of our body. Yes. So every living being has a magnetic field that you can feel. That's why people can feel trees, you can feel animals. I mean, horses have a huge magnetic field.
They do.
Huge.
Equine therapy.
Right. And so that blueprint, that story that's out there is basically you in this lifetime, in your timeline, and everything that's ever happened. So think of it as a reflection of the subconscious mind. Yes. It's running the program from that blueprint. And when we hit bumps in the road, let's say we put down fear at 5, we're going to be running that program until present time unless we address it.
Yes, exactly.
And it will oftentimes manifest in the body.
It does.
It does. Just takes a little time.
Yes.
or a couple of other instances in that same wheelbarrow of fear, and then you'll have something that'll kind of progress a little bit faster on the physical.
And these can be the root causes. Like we oftentimes talk in functional medicine about getting back to the root cause, and people will think of it as biotoxins or environmental toxins. It's like, what is filling that toxic burden bucket? It's still so physically that they're thinking about this, affecting the biochemistry, physiology. But it really can be even beyond that. It's emotional, it can be mental, and it can be these traumas, it can be even subtle energetics, and then that's the root cause.
Yeah, and I've learned over the years in integrative medicine that it's very rarely one thing.
Definitely.
I wish it was.
It's a combination. And that's why it's so important to do a comprehensive approach like this, using these sound codes, going back to like the meditations and just going back into who we are as our own divine beings, as our own higher self can speak through us. And that authenticity allows us to start clearing some of those energies that are put up as barriers, layers. It's like layers of the onions.
Yes. And when we are in those subtle influences of, let's say, Wi-Fi or biotoxins or heavy metals, whatever, those are all getting in the way of your clear signal.
Yes.
You can think of it as simple as that. You know, we're longing for connection to our higher self. We're longing for connection to the divine. We're calling it in. So it's just a matter of adjustments here, adjustments there. We kind of finally make our way to ding, you know, you made it to an alignment moment, right?
I love that.
So, yeah, and, you know, biogeometry comes into play, as you wanted to discuss that a little bit. Biogeometry comes into play and it addresses all the subtle bodies, right? From physical to spiritual. So using shape information that is already inherent in part of nature to transmute, not block, let's say Wi-Fi, EMFs, and things like that.
I love the way you explain that.
There's a huge difference between blocking and transmuting. Transmuting is literally modulating it into something that is healthy for humans.
Yes.
So it'll take it and just adjust it. So like I would go into houses, I've done some celebrity houses, I've gone to California, I've gone to Florida, I've gone to New York, and taken the time to work on their entire home. And we do it in layers. And basically what you're doing is creating a nature environment within the home.
That's beautiful. Wow.
So you're bringing in those scalar energies into the home to support the human.
Yes.
To support the human.
Amazing. Okay. People are going to be fascinated about this. So explain this further, like break it down. And for someone who's never heard of this before, you've mentioned all these different types of lines and the grid work of the earth. And so many of our listeners understand the energy of like the lymphatic system and the meridian system, the channels of the cardiovascular system, just the way that the arteries and the veins are going in different directions. So they get that idea and that concept. So bring some awareness about this, the building biology, and like, you know, we've heard of sickness syndrome from homes and houses, and how just these different lines and the different types of energetics of the earth and where homes are sitting, where houses are, how is that affecting them whenever their family is living in this home? And what is that like to exchange those types of energetics for healthy, pure ones and clean ones, or to transmute the ones that are maybe harmful or less helpful to health?
That's a great question. Let me give a little bit of context.
Yes, that's so.
So if we go back into the ancient world, they were aware. They were using their right brain and intuitive mind a lot more than we are now.
Yes.
So they would watch animals. And when animals were sick, they would go to a certain place on the earth to lay down to get better. So people were paying attention.
Wow.
And they said, okay, that's a good spot. We probably could put a home on that spot.
Yes.
Or a temple, or a church, or a city center.
Yes.
And then they would use shape information or building in such a way that would then amplify that energy out, right, in all directions. So, and the other thing that the ancients would do is they would notice where trees wouldn't grow well. They would notice where bushes wouldn't grow well. They would notice where there was curves in trees, that the trees were literally trying to grow around these lines, and they would avoid those.
Right.
So, it was a part of their daily practice to be aware of subtle energies.
Yes.
Well, we've lost that.
Oh,
And a
yeah.
lot of the esoterics are coming back now, thank goodness. And so what biogeometry does is I'll come into a home and get kind of an overall general assessment on the scalar energy level of the home and on what plane the home is sick at. You can see whether it's the physical plane,
Yes.
emotional, mental, or spiritual plane.
Ooh, that's amazing.
Each house has its own, its own living system.
Yeah.
So what we go about is finding and correcting the lines, placing corrections in very specific locations, and literally dialing in per degree
Yes.
which one is going to actually amplify the good energy and transmute the lower energy, and we place that correction.
Yes.
So we assess and find the lines. We assess and we find the Wi-Fi, the router, the EMF exposure, the cell towers coming out into your house, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll find those cell towers, et cetera, and we'll literally place a correction that points directly to the cell towers.
So fascinating.
So the energy that then is coming in to the home from the cell towers is transmuted.
Yes. I love that.
It's kind of an interesting
incredible
experience to find ways to get these set up in the home.
Sure.
So Dr. Ibrahim Karim is the one who's pulled biogeometry out of Egypt, and it's very much an Egyptian foray. And he actually did an entire town in Hamburg, Switzerland.
Whoa, that's amazing. I'll have to go visit it.
Yes, right. And they started putting up, I believe it was 3G towers at the time, and they hadn't had any EMF exposure in this little rural town.
Yes.
And the cows started getting sick. People had to live in their basements.
Yes.
Things like that.
Wow.
And so they literally went about with some really big, more applications for the entire town. And it took some time, but the people started coming back out of the basement.
Wow.
The cows got better.
Yes.
You can find that on
That's
Biogeometry.
amazing.
I know. It's an amazing,
Love that.
and it's so easy.
Yes.
Well, it's easy in that it doesn't require a lot of heavy input on a daily basis, like, for example, detoxing from heavy metals.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. That gets intense.
So another beautiful experiment was they did a scientific study on people with elevated liver enzymes, people with hepatitis.
Yes.
And they would wear the Biogeometry signature pendant, which has a diagram of all the organ systems of the body. So you're literally wearing it, and it's promulgating that the balance of those organs by shape information alone. And they did interferon in one population. They did nothing in another one, and they did all they did was wear their biosignature pendant, and they watched that the biosignature pendant over, I think it was a 6 to 8 week period, had improvement in their liver enzymes, whereas even better than the interferon, a medication.
That. Wow. Incredible.
So it's getting organs into alignment.
Definitely.
Right? So I think that was pretty potent information.
Yes, it is.
So going into a home, you think about it as layers. You can start with the bedroom. If we need to be economic in our approach, we always start with the bedroom because that's the place where we sleep and heal.
Yes.
And the more deep sleep that we get, the better we heal. And if we're doing processes like deep heavy metal toxins and detox and things like that, it's going to help amplify those processes because the body can rest.
Yes.
So it has the energy
heal at night
that it needs.
Beautiful.
Right. So we always start with the bedroom and make sure that is good to go. And there's different correction devices that we use that promulgate the scalar energy waves out. It's nothing that you have to charge. It's not plugged in.
That's so convenient.
It's just shape information.
Yes.
So it doesn't require maintenance and things like
And
that.
there are specific places that you trust to purchase from. That's one thing that I get quite regularly as a question is, what do we recommend for placing on cell phones or devices or around Wi-Fi systems or in the home? What are those companies that we can trust? What are the websites that they can go to? So is that something that you have a particular direction that you would send them, and just include the links in the show notes?
Sure. Yeah. So we're waiting on a shipment actually right now from Canada to have those applications, to have those corrections. Really, there's something called a home cube, a home kit, where it has the cube in it, which has basically can take care of a downstairs or an upstairs. And then there's water applications, EMF applications, Wi-Fi applications,
Yes.
and electrical panel applications. So basically the home kit is a nice starter package because they can go and do it themselves. But it always begs the question of how can I learn to at least get some skills
Yes.
to know what's good for me and what's not good for me.
Yes.
So for example, you mentioned cell phone stickers.
Yes.
Right? There's a lot out there. How do we know actually what's good?
Right.
And what's not? What's going to work and what's not?
Yes.
Well, your fireproof way of coming into that, answering that question is I need to be able to test myself.
Definitely.
Period.
And that's in the pendulum testing and how to do that. It's so simple.
It's really simple.
Just practice a little bit.
Yeah. And some people get discouraged because they're like, it's not moving. It's not moving. It's because you're in your head.
Yes.
You're thinking too much. And getting out of that right brain mode, the left brain mode is not one of our strong suits.
No, it's not.
We've been so left brain heavy for so long.
Yeah.
So
it's built into our culture.
It's built into our culture. So really learning how to test is your way out.
Yes.
You know, if you were to take a packet of, Sweet and Low, I can't believe people still or Splenda or whatever it is these days, right?
Pure neurotoxin.
Or honey. Like if you were to test yourself on honey,
right,
and then you would put your hand on, NutraSweet or whatever, you would find a difference.
Definitely.
And you can do the same with the cell phone sticker.
Yes.
You can do the same thing. So what you would do is you would take your cell phone and you would test yourself on your cell phone.
Yes.
Oftentimes you're going backwards because it's not really that healthy. So if I were to, it's already picking it up. Okay, so this is my going backwards. I'm not thinking, I'm not asking a question. I really don't care, actually.
All and your system already knows that's what means going backwards to you. So you can always test in the beginning. This is how I started out when I was a child. It's like, what is my name? I'll say my name, and then I'll say just another name.
Exactly.
And then it will always give me the no, which is a confident no, and then it'll give me the yes, so that people can start understanding what is their yes, what is their no.
So important. I like to think, and then you can go to the next step, which is, what does a yes feel like?
Ooh, yes.
What does a no feel like?
You need to have that. Then you can easily just feel the subtle energy change.
Exactly.
I love that.
So with these different products out there, and you don't even have to have this fancy pin, you can hang a hammer on a string and that can be a pendulum, right? As long as you can tap in and relax your mind. So sometimes when there's products out there and patients will ask me to test them all the time, they'll send me pictures of things. So I'll print it out.
Yes.
And I'll take their resonance and then I'll test them on it. And I can test product A, B, or C, or hey, I'm buying this, I'm looking at this land or this land. Can you test me on this land or this land?
Yeah.
It really becomes, the only limit is our imagination.
Yes, it is.
On how we want to use this.
Sure.
How do we want to bring it into our lives, So biogeometry has been such a game changer.
Yes.
Such a game changer. And even when I'm working out in the field, like instead of using a tuning fork, I can work on this.
Yes.
So this is actually picking up something on my right heart right now that it wants to help solve. So I'm not asking a question.
Right.
It's just picking up on an imbalance.
Yes.
And it's balancing it for me.
And so you can just let it continue working, and then it stops whenever it's finished.
Then it stops.
I love that. And that's part of the movement in the energetic fields.
Correct.
So whenever we think about like the lymphatic system, I think that and the cardiovascular system is so tangible and easy for people to understand. So stagnation in the body, we think of that as inflammation, excess fluid, excess water weight. We know what that feels like, to just be sluggish feeling and to not have that nice healthy flow, that fluidity in our body. So whenever we go get a workout in, or we go sweat and detox, get into the sauna and just feel like we've cleansed whatever that stagnation is in the body, then things are moving. Or acupuncture, acupressure, the meridian channels, we get those flowing. This is working in the subtle energy fields that then can ripple down to the physical body and have an effect on that, as well as the higher energetic fields that we may not even be thinking of. It's very much intangible until we become more aware, like you were saying with your awakening process and cracking open the pineal glands and becoming so much more aware to these subtle energy fields and to the clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and that helps them with these different energetic patterns, these different layers. And it's like true health comes from unlocking the codes that are, maybe more of, it's just hidden from us because we haven't been aware of them, and we allowed this to start working into those fields.
Yeah, it's making the unseen seen.
Yes.
The unseen tangible.
Yes.
The unseen known.
I love that.
You know?
Wow. So let's talk about the pineal gland again, because I know they're going to be fascinated with this. I think we've all tried to detox from all the fluoride that we've had in our water systems and most of the toothpaste that until we started waking up and using organic natural xylitol as a substitute. And it's just one of those things that many people realize their pineal gland has been calcified by the fluoride plus other types of toxins, because it's not just the fluoride.
Right.
Whenever we think about how do we clear the casings that are forming, so calcification, it's like an hardening of the pineal glands. And this is one of our master glands in the brain. It's one of the ways that we are able to have our circadian rhythm, our regulation. We look at the sun, especially in sunrise, sunset, and our regulation of our own circadian rhythm balances serotonin, melatonin pathways, etc. Well, we know pineal gland is so much more. And this is one of those master glands in the brain that in ancient times, our ancestors knew that this was one of those powerful connections and links to our higher self, to powerful energy, to a knowing and a seeing. We've also heard if we've looked into chakra systems, then this is linked to sixth chakra or the third eye, to the awareness, the knowing, the seeing. So let's go into that from a scientific standpoint of what does that mean to be in this world that has become so toxic with all these man-made chemicals, and then knowing that we have this opportunity to de-encapsulate this pineal gland, allow for this beautiful light to shine back out where our body creates our own light from the inside. It's like photobiomodulation, photochemistry is a thing where we can actually create more light internally. It's not just from the sunshine or from the external. And how can we go from the scientific aspects into more of this energetic aspects or spiritual aspects of it?
So the calcification of the pineal gland is on purpose, and because it's to dim our light so we wouldn't know or see, right? So that's baseline.
Yes.
And when we use substances like boron, for example, it'll kind of borax baths and things like that, baking soda baths, and Epsom salt baths, you're literally kind of drawing out that fluoride. Also, iodine holds onto the same receptor sites as fluoride, right? So when we have enough iodine in our body, it can actually switch with the fluoride and take your binders and things like that as things are coming out.
Definitely.
In addition, that calcification, it sort of locks down the pineal gland, so it can't do its magnetic thing, which is what it's been designed to do. It's like an electromagnetic signal pulse up. So when it's calcified down, it's literally cocooned and shut down, and it can't send out its signal. Same with the pituitary right underneath it, right? Which is where all our hormones come from. So the calcification is, it can be reversed. It takes time. I believe that the Kundalini breath, I don't know if your listeners know that, where you're actually holding your breath and tilting back and locking everything down. You're literally using the physics of the cerebrospinal fluid to go up your spine and into your brain and start knocking and pushing on that door. And that it creates a piezoelectric effect because it's made out of crystals, calcium crystals, right? So the crystals, when they get pushed, they begin to emanate out a magnetic field, and they start pushing, let's say, on the cocoon until finally one day it'll either sort of dissolve slowly. You might have a crack. You may have a partial dissolution of the cocoon, but it's something that it's really important for us all to be working on the physical.
Absolutely.
So that's why breath work is really important. It's really, really important to continue to push the envelope, right? There's always another layer. There's always a next level. So on that physical piece, I believe it's the detox. I believe it's taking care of the underlying ruminating infections that we all have exposure to, and vaccines and things like that. That as we're working on decreasing that load, we're increasing the energetic piece of pushing on that pineal gland to get it knock, and open.
I love that.
It's just really part of our spiritual awakening. It's part of our growth.
Yes.
And it's also creating a really strong signal to the divine and to our higher self.
Yes.
Or God. It's imperative, actually.
Yes.
Because what we are called to do at this time is pretty different than where it's been in the past.
Yes, it is.
And as way showers, it's incumbent upon us to spread it as far as we can.
Yes.
To do our work, to enlighten. And it's really a hand in hand. I don't think you can, I think it needs both the energetic piece and it needs the physical detox component piece as well. Because we're meant to see.
Yes, we are.
We are meant to know.
Absolutely.
We are meant to feel. We are meant to hear. We are meant to taste.
Yes.
All these 5 psychic senses need to come online and be part of our everyday existence, because that intuitive awareness is what helps us align with our path. It helps us detox relationships that need detoxing.
Absolutely.
Work environments that need detoxing, but also it pulls us into our alignment.
Yes.
When we are aligned and we start showing up in our life in the way that it's of the highest and greatest service.
Yes.
That's what we're called to do. And when we have so much distortion and static in our field from EMF, emotions, people, places even, it really kind of sidetracks us.
It definitely does.
So I applaud people. I mean, I've been in integrative medicine for so long, and I have patients that come to me that are so aware of what's going on, and they've already done so much work on their own. And then they step into my life. They're like, okay, I'm ready to work on the spiritual energetics piece. And I was like, okay, buckle up, let's go. So they'll sign up for like a package of 3 or whatever, and we keep going. And I've had some beautiful healers come my way that have really strengthened me and helped me along my path. I have one beautiful lady in Hong Kong. She's a physiotherapist, but does acupuncture and all these things. And so we've met online quite a few times now. And she had this Metaport from, she was really, really sick, couldn't function. And I remember going into this one session where I could see that her lungs were kind of contracted and they were compressed. Whether it was the inflammation from this, I'm not really sure, but here's where our imaginations go, right? So I'm looking at this picture of these kind of contracted lungs, and they need to be unlocked because she needs to oxygenate, right? So I was like, okay, hold on, my dear. This is what we're going to do. So I literally pull my hands into her field underneath her rib cage, and I start releasing the ribs because they were stuck.
Wow. Yes.
They're energetically stuck, locked down. So we start kind of just gently, just tugging, just creating space on the energetics. And it took me, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 7 minutes or so. And I go, how are you doing? She goes, and I'm like, wow. Okay, wow.
I love that.
And we were both just we just sat in silence, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that just happened. So I'm always learning and growing and showing up in the best way that I know how and can. And so I like it. I like to move into the energetic spaces because I believe that those are upstream.
Yes, they definitely are.
So I worked with a chiropractor at Tenet Institute.
Oh, yes. Okay.
This was the coolest experience. So he was working physically on the body.
Yes.
And I would be working out way in the field, and we were working in the same place together. Yes. And I would be listening to the sound, ringing my tuning fork, and I would bump into a heavy and dense, kerfuffle of energy. Yes. And as I was sitting there with the tuning fork, and the scalar energy is raising the energy, transmuting this heavy pocket, this heavy distortion, and it cleared. And then the chiropractic doctor would go, plunk, and he barely had to do anything.
And it just settled into place.
Just set it into place.
I love that.
So really gained a high awareness around these magnetic fields, this energy information, these distortions that we've all experienced, how it impacts the physical body.
It does. It's so profound. And this is where this can have impact on every different level. And if we think about immune system, nervous system, cardiovascular system, just each of these different ways that we've thought about how they all have to be interplaying and working together. And whenever we bring in the subtle energy fields, it can correct beyond what we can control, like what sense of direction we may think we need to take. So in integrative medicine, we oftentimes will go even more into that energetic aspects to make sure it's not our own bias that's trying to prioritize certain things with health. Instead, just say the body knows how to heal. The innate power that's healing inside the body, that is going to correct for everything that may be dysfunctioning beyond what we may know. It's so powerful.
It's very powerful. And the sound is an interesting feedback mechanism. I had an anesthesiologist. It was an anesthesiologist. And he said, I've had some heart issues. So I listened to each chamber of his heart. And I gave him some information via sound on what each chamber sounded like. And I said, your left ventricle is really low energetically in sound. So I would go back in the timeline. It was ancestral for him. So we had to go back in the ancestry and begin there and then make our way through his timeline. But he could hear it too.
Yes.
So it brings, like I was saying, the unknown to the known.
Right.
Because then you can actually hear what your heart sounds like at 5 when you went through your trauma.
Yeah.
You can hear it, and you can also hear it clear. And so
that's powerful.
It's impressive.
And you just mentioned something too that I think some of our listeners, they've already explored, and then others may be curious and want to explore a little bit further, the ancestral. Because we oftentimes will think about our own traumas that we've gone through. We know that it can be mental, emotional, physical. There are many different aspects to our wellness journey, to health complications, or anything that's altered within our own wellness journey. It's beyond just what it's like whenever post-conception, as a fetus, growing within our mother's belly. How healthy was she? How healthy was our delivery? Were we born via C-section, or were we born vaginally? Or what was our infanthood like, or childhood? How every different aspect is. But ancestral, this is something that goes beyond. So maybe for those that are tangible thinkers, our listeners can think about the DNA and the way that we have epigenetic factors influence. We have this blueprint that's within our DNA, certain DNA SNPs, genetic codes. They code for certain things that can be passed down from mother, from the father, and it can be affected or impacted by grandparents, great-grandparents, what stressors they were going through. Maybe they went through a great famine. Maybe they went through very stressful times. They were moving countries, or maybe they were going through wars that were very complex and difficult, and just the Great Depression, even where there was scarcity of foods, whatever it was. So this can impact us, and that ancestral lineage can impact us. I have Cherokee Nation, like Native American in my blood and my heritage. So, that has impact, as well as there are positive things. So it's not always just negative. Like our people were very in tune with nature and with listening to what the earth was teaching us. And, that's part of why the tribe would move to different places during different seasons, because that was the way that they could be more in tune with the rhythms of nature. So there can be many wonderful positive or negative things that can come from the ancestral lineage. What is that like to go beyond the DNA, the epigenetic influence, and to go into the energetic impacts of the ancestral lineage, as we were talking about?
So I know that they did a study. It was in Time magazine, and they looked at children of the Holocaust. So they didn't go through the Holocaust.
Right.
They're children of, right? And they had health conditions that were kind of unexplainable.
Yes.
And I would say sickly, put it in there. So we know that implication of what's being passed down. I think of it as the wisdom gets passed down, the hair color, the eye color. But you just get a basket of stuff, of information that your body then uses. Yes. And some of it is beautiful. And like, I come from strong women, and I'm so proud of that. And I'm so grateful for that. But we also had some traumas coming back. So, to answer your question on the energetics of ancestral, those are things like poverty mindset or fear of death.
Yes.
So when I was working with a client of mine, he's out in California, I came across a bump in the road with his mom and his dad. And he's in his 70s, and his parents are not living anymore. And I could see them come in, but I was listening too. So I see them and I'm listening.
Yes.
And they're giving me information, right, about what's going on. And I turned to my patient and I said, okay, I need to stop. I said, what was going on with your parents, when you were this old?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, oh, they were both in line for the gas chambers and they both got yanked out because they knew several different languages. And so they were used as interpreters and their lives were spared.
Wow.
And the sound was such a cacophony of fear.
Of course.
And this massive energy drop in the sound. It was so low vibration and so high with fear and anxiety at the same time. Like all harmonics, of the sound. And he basically had taken this mindset of everything is going to get taken away from me.
Yes.
In the blink of an eye. And so he lived with like clutching onto things and holding onto things. So I had some communication with these beautiful ancestors, his parents, who had lovely things to say about him and encouraging him. And then we cleared it for them.
Yes.
And then I couldn't find it anymore in him. So it's like going back to the garden and finding the root and going all the way down to the root and pulling it out.
I love the way you explain that.
Yeah.
And how beautiful for us to take on that responsibility of stepping up, stepping in, and helping to heal our ancestral lineage, because, we owe it to them of sorts. They care for us so much. And also many times we all are making moves and decisions to step up and be strong in moments when it matters, for leaving a legacy. For when we think about oftentimes our future generations, maybe if we've not even had children yet, but we just think about what it would mean to our children to make this world a better place for them, or to have an impact on their future, to set up our lives in a way that can impact them more beautifully. And that's so powerful that we have so much energy forwards down this ancestral lineage, like forwards through time. And then we go back and we lovingly say, now let me help to transmute some of this energy, because it's my time to step up. That is such a beautiful way to honor and respect that lineage heritage.
I love the word honoring.
Yes.
I think that's the most appropriate word.
Yes.
Honestly, because when I'm in ceremony and these sessions and things like that, it is a ceremony.
Yes, it is.
It's an honoring, and you can see them, or I can see them sort of adjust. Like sometimes they'll come in and they're just shut down. Sometimes they're showing me they laid bricks and nothing ever happened. The craziest things will show up, but then you see the release of that information in their field, and you can also hear it in the sound. So it gives me like a twofold way of verifying.
Yes.
And honoring is the right word. It's almost like no one heard their story.
Yes.
No one saw them and their struggles.
Yes.
And here are two people, the patient and me and other ancestral beings that are around and other light beings that are around, honoring what this person went through. And it definitely goes up and down the generational path.
I feel that. And even outwards in a way, what I'm seeing is it's like the network of that big family tree, and how all of the connections that they have, all the love that they have for siblings and for aunts or cousins or whatever, that it's just like they're all going through this powerful code, and it ends up impacting so many because we're all connected. So then we go into the energetics of where are we from, star seeds, or our soul being, and then how we're all part of the same, like we're all a whole, and us doing our work powerfully, stepping up, listening to this podcast and feeling that connection, that powerful impact that we have with every moment, just being willing to step out of the mold. That's how we're making this world and this universe such a better place.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I'll share one quick other story. I have a dear friend for 20 years or so, actually longer than that now, about 25 years. And I was working on her.
Yes.
And that same afternoon, her daughter calls me and said, "Are you working on my mom?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, sorry, we didn't let you know." But people are, like you're saying, we're all connected.
Yes.
So the more work I don't even want to say work, the more upgrading and up-leveling we do, the more impact we have, and the more light our body can hold.
Yes.
And then we become a beacon. We become a way of helping other people on their path just by holding the light.
Yes.
You don't have to do anything. You're just holding a higher light and nudging them even further without saying anything, just with your presence.
That's right.
Just presence.
So beautiful.
In light and in harmony.
Yes. And these are some of the tools that you can use. So we'll make sure that we are including in the show notes some of these links, because I have had this since last July, whenever I met my soul partner. Was his, and he passed it to me.
Oh, nice.
Yes, Dr. Maximilian.
Yeah.
It was like on its way to me, it found me. And that's one of the ways that I was so connected to him already. And then how beautiful that you have the exact same one, and this is what you use for your testing. So we definitely recommend it. And then what we can do is I love to give one little practical tool that people can use. And so as a little bonus to the session, you can tune into the Kundalini breathwork. And let's do a little Kundalini breathwork session.
Okay.
Just right
Perfect.
Here on the recording. And that way you all can experience what this is like.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got really good at this.
Yes.
Not too long ago. I would do breath work, but then I realized what it was doing, and you can actually feel the magnetic field pumping in your head after you do it. So basically what you're doing is taking that cerebrospinal fluid, that enclosed system that encapsulates the spinal cord and the brain, and you're literally pushing fluid up into the brain to create pressure.
Yes.
So, and that pressure creates the magnetic field. So the more you do it, the more magnetic field you're going to create.
Yes.
And it'll down-regulate your autonomic nervous system. It'll tell your vagus nerve everything is okay, and you can get into this beautiful, quiet, meditative space.
Yes.
And it only takes a few minutes. If you only have 10 minutes to meditate, do this. So here's how it goes.
Yes.
So basically, you're squeezing your perineum at the bottom, and you're squeezing the muscles as you're going up, but you're also taking in a breath at the same time. So you're getting that extra back pressure and sort of milking it all the way up into the brain.
Yes.
So what we do is we blow all our air out, and then as you're breathing in slowly, you're going to start squeezing your peritoneum. You're going to pull in your belly button to the back of your spine. You're going to fill up your chest even more and lock down your shoulders and really tighten this part here. And then you're going to tilt your head back and hold your breath, hold your breath, hold your breath. And you can push a little bit right there with your perineum and squeeze and hold it as long as you can. And then you exhale. And you're nudging your body into an alpha theta state.
I love that. Just one breath, and I already felt the shift.
Oh, yes.
How many do you recommend that they try?
Everybody's different. I've tried to put people in boxes. It doesn't work. Boxes don't work in this work. So honestly, I've had patients do it until they passed out.
Oh, wow.
Which is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
That's impressive, because they literally they literally shut it down.
Yeah.
And they had a hard reset, a full body hard reset.
That's amazing.
But, on a day-to-day practice, I would at least do 3. I would shoot for like 9.
Yeah.
Let's do Tesla's number, 9, and just sit with it and hold it as long as you can and squeeze, 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 and push that pineal gland with your intention.
Yes.
You know what it looks like. If you don't know what it looks like, go look on a map. But you're literally focusing right here the whole time you're doing it, because that is going to create that electrical magnetic signal of what we want.
Yes.
And then our magnetic heart. And when you amplify the heart up, that's what brings it into our life. So it's a circuit.
It is.
It's a circuit. So we really want to ping up.
Yes, let's ping up.
We want to amplify up and create and get out of the distortion of the lower consciousness.
This has been wonderful. I know that it's already given so much inspiration to so many. And I have enjoyed this conversation immensely. I know we have to do another episode because this is to be continued. We have so many more things that we can talk about and go into deeper depths. And so make sure that you tune in for the next episode with Dr. Amy Marshall. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's an honor to be with you, my dear.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. To all our listeners on the Resonant Life podcast, we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.